Hello and welcome to Where You Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And we are going to be having a discussion about The French Dispatch.
Yes, some more Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson back at it again.
And this is a very Wes Anderson movie.
I think that this is as Wes Anderson as you get.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't think there's any room for mistaking that this is maybe done by somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, for better or for worse. I can understand where some people might not like this movie. I, on the other hand, loved it.
I really, really enjoyed it, but I don't know that I could say it's my new favorite Wes Anderson.
It might be mine.
That's awesome.
I love the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this reminds me a lot of it. And the way that it's kind of a meta story on top of the just denseness of dialogue and things happening, where if you are not engaged with this movie, you missed a ton of stuff. This is one of those you pee as fast as you can if you have to go.
Yeah, I think that for me, one of the most interesting things about this movie is the specific way it was shot.
Yeah.
Because despite this being about journalists, this movie had so much movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything about it was focused on just the going of people, going about the day, going about their stories. Everybody was on a journey. You know, we start with how he goes up through the hotel or the office space, carrying the tray, which is such a great sequence, and then straight into Owen Wilson on a bicycle, which was just epic.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it just keeps moving with the cartoon and all these different ways, the use of color, everything visually in this movie was just awesome.
I mean, the car chase.
Yeah, the car chase was amazing.
Chase. Yes.
The visuals in this are, it's almost like he's gotten to the point where he's started to, I've heard this from other people. This is definitely not my opinion, but I agree that there's almost a blending of the animation side of his stuff, the stop motion that he does, into some of his newer movies.
Right. Yeah. It does add a very specific feel to it.
Yes.
And maybe that's exactly what he's going for. Something that you see in other movies. There are other movies that cut from real life to animation back to real life. It happens.
Yeah.
But this was
Venom 2.
Yeah.
Venom 2.
Well, and
yeah, it's not.
You weren't expecting me to go that recent, were you?
No, I do think
I was thinking like Kill Bill, but
I see the stop motion visuals because in a way it felt sort of similar to Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah,
right.
Just with the way it's shot.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I did like the fact that this is a little bit more of a short story style. I mean, it's the final
multiple short story. Yeah.
Right. It's like the final in stories from all these different writers of a publication that's about to go kaput.
Right.
Because the editor went kaput. And because of how dense the dialogue is and how much there is to follow, I kind of appreciate it, because that is one thing. I had to watch Grand Budapest Hotel 2 or 3 times before I felt like I got most of it. This one seemed a little easier to capture on the first viewing. Now, I definitely think I'm going to catch more on the second one, because like I said, it's dense. But I was able to follow along pretty well because I kind of got a breather when there was a new segment that came on. I was like, okay. I mean, I'll be looking for anything that ties in so that I can catch the little inside jokes. But for the most part, I got a fresh start here.
Right. Yeah. You do get a second to take a breath and kind of renew your vision into what's about to be happening in front of you again.
Exactly. So I think that this is maybe a little bit more rewatchable for me, because I could see myself putting this on a Sunday afternoon or something while I'm doing chores, and stopping and watching one segment and just kind of having it run in the background the rest of the time. Where I do feel that way about other Wes Anderson movies, but then there's ones like I said earlier, Grand Budapest Hotel. No, I'm not going to do that. If I'm watching that movie, I have to sit down and watch it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is all the things that I love about Wes Anderson movies, all kind of wrapped up in one.
Yeah, I think that's great. I enjoyed the journalist point of view in this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of films that do these sort of intersegmented stories, they all have some big convergence point. And while this sort of has that because they all work for the same newspaper, the specific stories being told have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
They're not interrelated in any way. And I really appreciated that, and that each story had a different feeling. It had a different perspective and a different focus. Even the dialogue felt different based on which journalist you were hearing from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I liked that. I thought that was a really interesting take and a really cool way to do this, because it did feel sort of like reading a newspaper.
Yeah.
While the basic facts, that sort of follows the same story pattern, but even the specific words being used and the way the camera focuses were different between people.
Right.
Yeah, it was quite different between each segment, which was pretty cool.
It didn't hurt that it had a hell of a cast either.
No. It didn't hurt at all.
As they usually do, but this one was particularly star-studded.
Yeah, so again, all-star cast, but
And
there's
short.
so many different people in the cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I've got an all-star cast, but we have 4 people in it. It's like, we have an all-star cast, and we've got 25 stars.
Right.
Yeah, we have 4 mini movies, and each one of those has its own all-star cast.
Right, yeah.
No, that's one thing I always like about Wes Anderson movies is the amount of people that are in it. But even these incredibly big-time, big-name stars show up for a Wes Anderson movie, even to do, 10 minutes of film.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, those are both good examples of they're in the movie, and it's predominant. You can see that they're in the movie, but they're not in it for a long period of time.
Well, and they're core Wes Anderson.
Sure.
And then you have people like Elizabeth Moss and Saoirse Ronan who were hardly in the movie at all.
Yeah, Saoirse Ronan had such a small part.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of newcomer. Not really been in any Wes Anderson films before. I mean, at least with Tilda Swinton and Adrian Brody, you see them show up in Wes Anderson films sometimes.
Wasn't Saoirse Ronan in Grand Budapest Hotel?
Yes, she was.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
But she was a small child. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's even just looking at it now, it's like, oh man, like the entire top cast page in IMDb.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Frances McDormand, so I know you're happy about that.
Yep. I'll watch anything she's in.
Yeah.
She's amazing, and she was amazing in this.
She was great in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, I begrudgingly loved Timothée Chalamet's performance.
Begrudgingly.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't like Timothée Chalamet.
I can't not like him. He's incredibly charming and great, an incredible actor. He picks great roles. The only reason I hate him is because I'm so jealous of him.
That's fair.
He does seem to be really good at picking projects as well.
Mm-hmm.
He does
Yeah.
very good, very interesting things, and then he's great in them.
Who makes these
Yeah.
decisions for you?
And his role in this was so freaking ridiculous. I loved every minute of it. That horrible mustache and hairdo. Oh, it's beautiful.
It was
so
special.
perfect. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What he kept saying? I'm uncomfortable in my new muscles.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes, he did. It was so, I don't know why I found it so funny when he hops out of the tub completely naked to hand her his manifesto.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why is
Don't
that
criticize my manifesto.
the handoff?
Yeah. Don't criticize my manifesto.
What'd she say? I thought it was something like, I thought you wanted me to proofread it or edit it or something. Critique it. And he was just like, honestly, I was hoping you would just read it and tell me how good it was.
Right.
Which is so beautiful because that's 100% what you expect to hear come out of someone's mouth who hands you their manifesto.
Right.
Especially somebody young like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want criticism. I just want you to tell me how genius I am.
Right.
And the poetic lack of poetry was just awesome. It was a good segment, and I do love seeing these big name actors so unafraid to just be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they probably are weird in real life, so.
Yeah, but you always wonder if people like this, if they take themselves too seriously to do
Right.
these kinds of things. Because like Tilda Swinton's part, the art critic, whatever she is.
Yeah.
She was so funny and just kind of weird.
Yeah. J.K.L. Berenson.
I enjoyed her greatly.
Yeah.
The pose she kept doing with the hand on the hip.
Mm-hmm. And it was the most awkward presentation I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, that sums up a lot of the interactions in his
Wes
movies,
Anderson
but
movies.
specifically
Yeah.
this movie.
Yep.
You're like,
For me, the
that's
breakout was
weird.
Jeffrey Wright. Like,
Oh yeah.
He
his
was
part
fantastic.
just blew me away. I thought he was wonderful. Roebuck Wright.
Yeah.
He was very good.
Mm. He just, the way that he has the ability to just kind of flow that dialogue held together what could have been kind of it felt like a longer portion of the movie, but it seemed to flow really well for me.
Yeah, it did.
But we'll talk about that more later.
Oh, all right. And of course, the obligatory 17 seconds of Jason Schwartzman in the beginning.
Yes. It's a requirement in
17
everyone.
seconds.
Is it a Wes Anderson film if it doesn't have Jason Schwartzman in there somehow?
Is
No.
it literally specifically 17 seconds?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it was
if it
Just
was-
watching her watch.
It was just very brief.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie. I think it is. I don't think I'm still not thinking it's my favorite of his movies. But it's really great.
That's understandable.
It's
It
just
is-
not my
Style.
style as much
Yeah.
as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Like quirky with a main theme that runs through the whole thing is more movie like to me.
Yeah.
Something that I maybe appreciate a little bit more. This did feel exactly like a few actual like short films, mini movies.
Yeah, it did.
All connected by, again, it does have a main theme, but that's the newspaper, which is not, as far as a main theme goes, is not really motivating.
And to be honest, I mean, you could argue that that's analogous to a publication like the French Dispatch. You have a bunch of separate stories, but they all have a similar feel to them.
Yeah, they create the culture of the publication.
Exactly.
Because that's really what it is. It's not like it's whatever, New York Times or something like that. You got
More
40,
like the
40
New Yorker.
different. Okay, New Yorker, sure.
More like the German edition of the New Yorker or something, just very unexpected, because to have
I was saying it's not like a major publication where you have like 40 different writers that, yeah, sure.
Right.
They've created a culture in this place, but it's not like this that there's 6 people that write for us.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you know what we're about.
No, I just appreciated that their American tie-in is Liberty, Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The complete middle of nowhere.
It was the frontier at one point.
Yeah.
Lots of corn.
It was. Probably still is the frontier.
A little bit. If you live in Liberty, Kansas, let us know.
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've been to Kansas. It's very flat and lots of farming. So, boy.
Clearly the place to start a newspaper.
Yes, absolutely. And an art installation. As
Right.
well, you know.
100% where you have obscure prison art.
Yeah. It's where the masses
right.
will flock to see it.
Do you guys want to get into favorite scenes?
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I won't beat around the bush. I'll go first because I
Yeah.
kind of talked about it earlier.
Yep.
My favorite scene is definitely the car chase.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's during Jeffrey Wright's story, I guess, is the best way to say it. And just the whole police chief's son getting kidnapped by Ed Norton, and you have the Saoirse Ronan cameo, and it's just the absurdity of the entire story and the seriousness and gravitas given to the way that it's narrated by Jeffrey Wright. It's the perfect combination of over embellished dialogue and nearly cartoonish live action cinematography.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better word, I guess that is the right word. That really gets me the best. And that's kind of the thing that I love most about Wes Anderson in one scene. And I died laughing so hard when the Muscle Man like jumped back out of the building that he had flown into onto the car after they had circled around. Oh man, that got me so hard. I was literally I had to like stop laughing in the theater so I didn't annoy other people. That broke me. Because I noticed him fly in there. I was like, oh, that was one of those cool little things that you get to see. Like, the Muscle Man, he like flew into the window, disappeared, and then rolls right back around. And I was like, that's so perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was my scene. It was my favorite part of my favorite story.
Yeah, it was a great one. I enjoyed the story about the chef.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the cooking one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was.
Of course it was. Yeah. Of course it was the cooking one.
Definitely a good one. Edward Norton was very good.
A good bad guy.
Yeah.
He often is.
Yeah, he is. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good choice.
Well, thank you. What about you, Daniel? What was your favorite scene?
So my favorite scene was actually the end of, and I can't for the life of me remember what the the section was called that it was in, but it was the short story with Timothy Chalamet. And it is actually at the very end when they are in the radio tower,
Mm-hmm.
and he's reading through the manifesto, which is already confusing enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they blow the circuit, because that's what it seems like.
Right.
And he climbs the tower to reconnect the thing and kind of peers off over the land, just kind of enjoying being up that high and being, what you can see.
Yeah.
It's kind of awestruck, I guess. Which is then promptly followed by the I guess what you expect to hear is like, oh, he went on to do this and this and this, but reality was this is where he died.
Yeah, he got electrocuted.
He drowned, actually.
He drowned?
Yeah, he drowned. The tower collapsed. I would assume because he was hanging off the side of it like a monkey, and it collapsed into the river, and he drowned.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just...
A star that shines that bright.
Yeah.
Burns half as long.
Yes.
That's what they say.
I did enjoy their slogan of "The children are grumpy."
The children are grumpy. Yes.
I thought that was so perfect for, yes, there was a student revolution, but they weren't like rioting exactly.
Right.
No, but
Children are grumpy.
they did have barricades, and they were getting tear gassed and
That section had a lot of good
all kinds
bits.
of stuff.
Yeah, the bit with the tower was amazing.
Yeah.
And the play was funny.
Yeah.
And they were battling through chess.
Yes.
Right.
Long distance chess.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Time's up. Send in the tear gas.
Yeah.
That was super funny.
Yeah. So that was
Great
mine.
choice.
That was a
Very
great
good.
choice. Yeah.
All right, Rachel, what do you got? What was your favorite scene?
I'm going to go with kind of the opening, sort of, not opening scene, but the opening newspaper article with Owen Wilson basically giving you a history of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked all of that. His
Past and the future.
the past and the future, no present.
No present.
Just the way he told the story, the dialogue was funny, and the way they followed his bicycle was also very funny. And the little bits that were in there were like he rode the bike down into maybe like the tram stop or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he was holding onto the back of the car.
Yes, because
Yep.
he's talking about the automobile, and then he just rides into the metro. Or when he comes upon the group of hoodlums, and
Yeah,
he vanishes,
beat old
but
lady with sticks.
the bicycle keeps going.
Yeah.
I just got a lot of enjoyment out of that. I liked a lot of the elements. I liked the storytelling, and I liked the way that the camera moved with the bicycle.
It was very good.
Yeah.
The city was called Ennui,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it's on the Blase River.
Yep.
There's just so many little touches throughout this.
Yeah, I think that really set the stage for what the movie was going to be like. Because at the very beginning, I was a little lost as to how this was really going to go.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's probably my, second or third runner up.
Yeah.
There's quite a few parts in the see, I can't ever remember. I'm gonna have to watch this thing again.
The art?
I can't even
For
remember
sure.
the name of
The art one was
sections.
incredible, the way they used color.
The
Yeah.
art one was one of my was close to my favorite scene or favorite section.
Yeah.
It was really high up there. I thought Benicio del Toro was incredible and very funny.
Yes. The growling was really funny.
Yeah. And Adrian Brody was great. Henry Winkler was in that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
And even
And
was
Bob-
Ma Clampett.
Mhm.
Oh, Clancy.
She was very funny.
No, man. Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
It's a good movie.
overall, all the elements of this were very funny. It was a little slower paced,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but it was still awesome.
Indeed.
All right. Well, then I think that just about wraps it up for the French Dispatch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of it. If you didn't, then don't criticize my manifesto. But if you did, make sure to join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?